What's number 9?
Stitch this and tell
It's
me
Kirsten.
a space act that just makes your brain go.
Oh, there was a time on YouTube where like, my videos would do really well when I started them out by eating. It was like people would be like, well, he's going to say something, but he's not saying something yet. I have to wait. Versus if you were just like sort of not talking, people would be like, just scroll. This guy's not talking. But if you're eating, people are like, oh, I gotta wait. I gotta wait for him to finish eating. I swear that's like what psychologically the reason why a lot of people like TikTok start with people eating. Oh God, it was so much work to put these subtitles on, but it made the videos more sticky and exciting. And Peyton did that.
If the universe were infinitely big,
This is
and
great.
static, or infinitely old,
This is great.
either
This
way,
is so cool.
the sky would always be white with stars. Because an infinite universe, whether infinitely old or static, would have an infinite number of stars. And thus, every point in the sky would be a star, and its light would have had time to reach us. It's called Olbers' paradox, and it was one of the first ways that we proved that the universe had a start.
I love this because, of course, like now we think this is normal, but like this wasn't a observation that required an experiment. It was just an observation that required thought. It was a philosophical exploration rather than a scientific one, but leading to a scientific conclusion that was both correct and well-reasoned. It's either not infinitely big or it's not infinitely old. And it turns out it could still be infinitely big, but it is definitely not infinitely old. And we now know that. And I bet like if you told me Olbers' paradox and like convinced me that it was true before we knew about the Big Bang, I would have been like, okay, so the universe isn't infinitely big, but it is infinitely old. It turned out to be swapped from that. And there's no like that. We just had to get like scientific data to figure that out. But like, that's not what I would have guessed. It's very weird that the universe had a beginning.
Because that's not a thing that makes sense, right? It doesn't feel like it had a beginning. If it was always around, then all of those stars from infinitely far away, their light would have had time to get to us, and so the night sky would just be whiteness. It would just be bright. I don't know, man. That's just a lot. It's a lot.
So, that's a good video. I'm glad that one's in my top. It's a very good fact. It was pretty well done. It was a stitch with Kirsten, who is great and who you should follow on Instagram and YouTube, and also TikTok if it still exists, which, again, I'm recording this not knowing what the future will hold.